Hello, Rama Pupodu. Hope all are in great health, feeling wonderful, happy, having a peaceful life, relaxed life. Now let's continue with Paul Brunton. In one of his letters, he wrote, Bhagavan is, I am, all the time meeting in the inner space of my heart, where Ramana Maharshi always resides. Bhagavan was also very affectionate towards Paul Brunton. One day, in his hall, Bhagavan openly said, Paul Brunton's thought comes to my mind. I am sure Paul Brunton is also thinking of Bhagavan. At that very moment, halfway across the world, Paul Brunton was paying his obeisance to Bhagavan before giving a talk. Another time in the hall, Bhagavan received a pamphlet by post in which there was a quotation from Paul Brunton. He read it out saying, Paul Brunton writes, I remain perfectly calm and fully aware of who I am and what is occurring. The self still exists, but it is a changed, radiant self, something that is far superior to my unimportant personality, rises into consciousness and becomes me. I am in the midst of an ocean of blazing light. I sit in the lap of holy bliss. Divine grace descends and acts only when it is invoked by total surrender. It acts from within because God resides in the heart of all beings. Its whispers can be heard only in a mind purified by self-surrender and prayer. Rationalists laugh at it and atheists scorn it, but it exists. It is a descent of God into the soul's zone of awareness. It is visitation of a force unexpected and unpredictable. It is voice spoken out of cosmic silence. It is cosmic will which can perform authentic miracles under its own law. This incident has been mentioned in Day by Day with Bhagavan. In 1952, after the Maharishi dropped the body, Paul Brunton came to Ramana Ashramam, and it was beautiful because he did not feel any difference when he was there earlier in the physical presence of the Maharishi. It was the Master's spiritual presence that he was soaked in. He writes, the death of the Master's body had not ended our relationship or barred our communication. He still existed in my heart as a veritable force, an entity bereft of flesh but clearly present. He adored the Maharishi as a pure channel for the higher power. When he was requested to give a message for young seekers, he said, pursue the inquiry, who am I? Relentlessly analyze the entire personality. Strive to find out from where the I thought arises. Continue your constant meditation. Keep turning your attention within. One day, the wheel of thoughts will slow down and intuition will mysteriously arise. Follow the intuition and let your thinking stop, and it will eventually lead you to the goal of unwavering and perpetual self-awareness. After his illumination in 1963, Paul Brunton became a gentle, irresistible powerhouse of peace. The radiant beauty of his inner light attracted many seekers. His never say die spirit can be seen through his years of search for a genuine spiritual experience. Though he got this for the first time in the presence of the Maharishi on their very first meeting, it remained latent within him for many years. He had to go through the rough and tumble of the spiritual path before he could make it his own. In all his encounters with fresh seekers, he used to emphasize the one has to pursue the quest within by implicitly putting into practice the sacred words of the Master. He wrote, I had all the human failings. I had fallen by the wayside several times, but it is also true that I picked up myself each time and at last achieved the goal. In the 1970s, Appa Pant was the Indian ambassador to England. Thanks to the influence of Maurice Friedman, he was already a great devotee of Bhagavan. He wanted to express his gratitude to Bhagavan by unveiling his portrait at the Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan in London. A big gathering was expected. As part of the celebrations, a souvenir was brought out. From its conception, I was consulted. I advised them to invite Paul Brunton to participate in it and give the principal talk. Brunton instead sent an article for the souvenir. It was a glorious adoration of his guru, Ramana. Later, I had it printed in the ashram journal, The Mountain Path. 40 years have passed since I have walked in his abode and saw the Maharishi half reclining, half sitting on a couch. After such a long period, most memories of the past become somewhat faded. If not, they lose their existence altogether. But I can truthfully declare that in this case, nothing of that kind happened. On the contrary, his face, his finger, his surroundings are as vivid now to me as they were then. What is more important to me is that, at least during the period of meditation, the feeling of his radiant presence is as actual, as vivid today, as it was on the very first day. A remarkable devotee extolling a remarkable master. In 1960, I was in charge of visitors to Ramana Ashram and I used to take them around like a guide. Westerners used to come very rarely and I loved them because I was so eager to be in the midst of seekers. Just as I was very eager to serve the old devotees, I was very excited to be with young seekers who were coming in search of the Maharishi and his message. Quite a few of them revealed to me that they had been directed by Paul Brunton to come here. His advice to them invariably was, go to the Kanchi Shankaracharya. He is the reality in the flesh. But more importantly, go to Ramana Ashramam. The reality without flesh is there, and that is what you have to experience. I used to communicate with Paul Brunton because I wanted guidance from a devotee who made Bhagavan known all over the world. Though I wrote many letters inviting him to come and stay in the ashram, no reply came. But I persisted in sending him letters through his friends who were visiting. In one of them, I raised this question, Brunton, you had asked Bhagavan about work and wisdom. When you told Bhagavan you are in a jungle ashram, but I have to go back into the world and work to earn my livelihood. So how can I live? Bhagavan replied, there is no difference between work and wisdom. Since Bhagavan told you directly that there is no contradiction between work and wisdom, you will have clarity on this matter. Please share that with me. He replied with a short, beautiful letter which he sent through a friend. Things happen to you, don't they? Now you think that things are being done by you. It is wrong. Things are done through you. Alter the attitude, done by me, to done through me. Ramana Maharishi was the pure channel for the higher power to pass through. All these sages, saints, and messiahs were channels for the higher power to pass through. You and I are also the same. There will be no difference between work and wisdom. If, like the sages, we too allow ourselves to be the channel for the higher power to pass through. The moment you have the attitude that things are happening through you, you will see everything becomes light. Jesus Christ said, "Be a light unto yourself." What is the heaviness in you? It is the sense of doership, thoughts and memories of the past and the future. Give up that and accept and surrender to the higher power. You will be surprised at how light you feel. Though he never accepted my many invitations to come and stay in the ashram, a month after he dropped the body, I received a letter from his secretary. She wrote, "Sorry, Ganesan, I had to attend to so many things that I couldn't write to you earlier." A few hours before Mr. Brunton left his body, he called me and said, "Please write a letter of thanks to Ganesan." Later, I had the great fortune of visiting Brunton's institution, Wisdom's Golden Rock, near New York. They wanted to name it after him, but he didn't agree. An Indian named Damiani have arranged for Brunton to give a talk there, had a large photograph of Brunton hanging in a place of prominence. Now, Brunton had this habit of visiting the place where he had to give a talk the previous evening to look into the arrangements. When he saw his photograph, he said, "Remove that and put my master's picture." Spiritual seekers all over the world owe a deep debt of gratitude to Paul Brunton. Even though it has been said from the time of the Vedas, "Turn within, you are that," none of us knew what to do. Even when Jesus Christ said, "The kingdom of God is within you," few could understand what it meant. Now, through Paul Brunton, we get Bhagavan's message. Turn within, be still, and know that I am is God. That's all, folks. Let's continue in the next chapter. Thank you. Bye bye. Rama Rama Pupodu.